So, today we are going to talk about unique offers, which is so important. We are going to look at idea client, specific problem, and you're solving, and what makes you different. We're also going to look at positioning your offer in the market. And then finally, we're going to look at messaging that actually resonates. But first, if you are new here, my name is Karin Haggard. I am a Swedish brand designer and business strategist. And I founded K Haggard Design probably, yeah, it's a little bit more than 10 years ago now. And we've helped hundreds, actually, of purpose driven service providers to create a confident, what should I say? Confident brand and website. And I am a doer. I love to take action, get things taken care of. I have a background as an athlete, both as a golfer and figure skater. So bring my athleticism into my work and entrepreneurship. I am a creator and I believe in uniqueness and that kindness is cool. So if you align with that, you're in the right place. But let's dive into the goodness today. So, the importance of a unique offer. Any offer is it's just basically essential today. The market is so crowded, so you have to find a way to stand out, to make yourself different. And I should say, yeah, I haven't heard from you, but I'm going to see Lisa, for instance. What service are you in? Okay. He might still not hear me, hopefully. Okay. So where were we? Value. So purpose and values are really important pieces that we need to get in place to make this unique offer. Value is how you stand out. So your values, it builds authority and it attracts your ideal client. So for example, Flow is what's on the screen right here. It's just a letterhead, but um, she is a financial advisor. She works with women in tech, and she has a very fun way of communicating her message. So she's very unique financial advisor serving a specific group of people. So this is a great example of having a unique offer. So define a unique offer. Well, to do that, you have to look at who is your ideal client? What specific problem are you solving for them? And how is your solution different from competition? So who's your ideal client? What specific problem are you solving for them? And how are you solving it differently from your competition? So, your ideal client, I have 5 keys that we can look at, or 5 ways to define them, but it's a detailed description of the person within your niche that you help get to get the solutions that they're looking for. And this is the specific group of people that you want to market to. So when you are, the more clear you are who it is and what problems they have or desires they have, the easier it is to communicate with them and really connect with them. Because then it feels a little bit like, if I'm reading the marketing message, it feels or it should feel like you're already in their head because you know your ideal client so well. So the 5 different things. First up is things as in keys. The first thing coming up is problem or desire. So, what specific problem or challenge does your ideal client have that you can solve? What are you trying to achieve by solving this problem? Could it be growth, stability, health, freedom, or success? But what specific problem or challenge does your ideal client have that you can solve? Then, key number 2 is demographic. Are they in a certain age group, income level, like maybe they're budget conscious, middle class, or not high net worth individuals? It could be life stage, so newlyweds, parents, maybe they are career switchers or entrepreneurs. Location, if that matters, it could be urban, suburban, rural, or maybe it's virtual. And then you have industry. This is where people mainly think that this is how you define a niche, but it could be all of the things that we just talked about. But industry, that would be a doctor, teacher, etc. Next up, we got psychographics. So this is values and beliefs. What do they care deeply about? So, for example, it could be sustainability, growth, security, any of those kind of things. Lifestyle preferences. So, do they prioritize work life balance? Are they innovators or more traditional? Pain points or desires, back to that little challenge. What challenge or aspirations drive them? And the hint is drive them. Key number 4 is buying behavior. This is actually quite interesting. And I think we often forget to look at buying behaviors, or at least, yeah, I feel like a lot of people kind of miss this one. So, how do they make decisions about purchasing a service or product? Are they logical, emotional, status driven? Like, you can think of buying behavior, say you're in the grocery line and then there's always these little goodies right at the end of the where you get to the cashier. That's emotional buying or impulsive buying. That kind of looking at your ideal client that way to see how they actually make their purchases. And then you want to tailor your messaging to actually most effective way for that. Next up is number 5, the preferred communication style. Here's also something that I think we tend to just, everybody likes social media, for example, but there's so many different ways that you can communicate with your client. So it's important to take a look at how do they prefer to interact with your business. Do they like social media and the platforms? And then which platform do they actually like? Their, um, you know, LinkedIn usually tend to attract more in the professional sphere. TikTok, maybe not so much. So it's really important to find which platform do they like. But then, do they like to get email or podcasts? Do they like in person? I love to meet in person, although I do a lot online, but I love to meet in person. And do they like phone calls? I don't like phone calls, for example. So really important to figure out what do they actually like. So when you know that, you know where to go and find them. So what specific problem are you solving for them? This is the number one frustration their ideal client is experiencing. So, how does that problem show up in their business or their life? What's the cost of not solving this problem? And I think it's important to do like a grunt test to make sure it's an easy thing to digest. For example, my ideal client struggles with getting leads from their website or marketing material because their branding isn't clear. This causes them to attract the wrong clients and loses sales. So you want it to be easy to understand and digest. How is your solution different from your competition? And here I think is important to look at somebody that is a direct competition. We have a few different types of competition, which I will talk about here shortly. But the direct one, I think, is really important because that is when you can really get into the nuances of what you do differently versus somebody that offer exactly the same service, because there's going to be something that's different. It could be anything from how you communicate with your client, your framework, your values, how you, did I say communicate? Yeah, how you communicate, if I didn't say that. Um, these are usually the gold nuggets that really sets you apart. It might feel like it's nothing, but yeah, I believe the magic happens in the nuances. And then you have indirect competition and substitute competition. And indirect competition, that is, I don't have an example. Haha. Substitute is, uh, so direct competition will be another web designer. Indirect competition would be using a DIY tool, for example, because we are an agency, a DIY tool. And then substitute would be not going to use a website, going to actually just use Facebook instead. So it's substitute, fully different. Those are all very important to look at. But I usually feel like people get a missed opportunity by not looking at the nuances in the direct competition. And I already switched to slide here. Position your offer in the market. So when you have clarity on who the ideal client and your offer, then you want to have undeniable value to the right people. They clearly differentiate from the competitions, which we just said, in that it's irresistible compared to the other options. A great offer without strong position is like basically a hidden gem. It doesn't exist. So I remember I had a client that, oh, I'm just going to create my offer and then people are going to come. It doesn't work that way. It's like if you have something built out in the woods, nobody's going to walk by there just by accident, or some people might, but it is important to then showcase and position your offer in the marketplace so people can find out what it is that you do and how you can help them. So it's really about how you actually present yourself. So your audience immediately see why you would be the best choice or not. It obviously wants to also show not, because it's about finding your ideal client and connecting with them. Let's see. Whoops, sorry. Just making sure we're looking at, yeah. The value your offer provides, the value your offer provides, sorry. So what is the biggest transformation your offer provides? What makes your solution better, faster, or maybe more effective than other options? What are the top 3 pain points or desires it solves? These are really, really important questions. So for example, my brand and website process helps service-based business owners create high converting online presence that attracts premium clients. Unlike DIY website builders, this is where we were talking about earlier, the competition. It provides strategic driven design, professional brand positioning, and expert guidance so they can stand out in their industry. Okay. Differentiation fill the gap in the marketplace. So when you're very clear on what makes you different, this is where or you can go both ways. But if you see an open space in the marketplace, you can fill it, or that your differentiator actually fills that space. So whichever way you see it, developing something or seeing a missing space. But it is about filling that space and showing how you are different and better. It's not about just being different. So communicate your unique offer. Clarity and succinct messaging is essential. So if your ideal client aren't instantly drawn to your offer, chances are messaging isn't clear enough. When your brand speaks their language, and I highlight to their language, it's simply and powerfully. They'll know you're the right choice before you even pitch them. So it's really important to speak their language. Um, People don't buy offers, they buy solutions to their problems. This is something that I always point out. The website is not necessarily, or your website is not necessarily about you. The end user doesn't really care about you, and this might hurt some people's feelings, but they care about having their problem solved. So you got to shift your mindset and your messaging from what they do to what their audience are getting. So the number one pain point their offer solves, and the number one goal their ideal client want to achieve. So instead of I offer custom branding and website design, for example, I help mission-driven service providers attract premium clients with a brand and website that position them as the go-to expert. So why does all matter? Well, your clients are looking for results. So communication matters. So you want to be clear on what specific problem we're solving. So again, an example will use me. We creating strategic brand identities, not so clear on what that does and how it solves my client's issue, but we create strategic brand identities so that you stand out in a crowded market and attract more high paying, glorious, ideal clients. Okay, so you want to see what problem are you solving for your ideal client. And this I pointed out earlier, but it's worth saying again, normal speak. You gotta use everyday language. It is easy to get stuck in expert mode because we're in our industry, we talk about, or we have certain terms within our industry. I do, I'm sure you do, and it just confuses the audience. So use words that your ideal client actually say. So listen to what questions do they ask? How do they phrase the things that you are actually working on? I have another example in my industry: conversion optimized UX for seamless user engagement. Eek. I mean, maybe it makes sense. I don't know, but probably something like this will be better. A website that makes it easy for you or dream client to say yes. So that's the same thing, but so much easier to digest. And this you can also often see, I think, in testimonials or reviews, or if you have, um, strategy calls. This is really great time to write down notes on how to actually communicate um, in your industry with their words, and then use that in your marketing. So show and don't tell. I highly recommend to have stories and case studies. So a client went from X to Y after working with us. This this removes friction between you and the potential client, communicating how you have actually made transformations beforehand. If you're not able to have uh, client testimonials or reviews, you can always use fictitious clients, because I know this happens all the time. You just have to, or I know it happens all the time with at least the industries that has they're highly have to do compliance. That's a lot of compliance. Um, but say in our case, we can just visually show a website, but testimonials or stories that tell how the experience was and what the outcome was for the client are super helpful to have on your website. So we're getting down to a little plug and play, which I think makes it very easy to make sure that you have all these little pieces in place. So I help blank achieve blank without biggest pain point using blank. So, oops, I should say, ideal clients achieve desired outcome. Those are the blanks without biggest pain points and using unique approach. So I'm going to use myself as an example because that makes it easy. I help purpose driven service providers, so that's my ideal client, to finally start or grow their business and attract their ideal client. So this is their desired outcome, to attract ideal clients without struggling figuring out how to get it all together. This is their biggest pain point, getting all the information together. But more importantly, what is needed to make it happen? And using my proven framework, which is a unique approach, we have a course, the brand and website blueprint, or depending on who I'm talking to, it could also be using our framework as an agency. So that's a good little, I would screenshot this one, little plug and play sentence to help you out. All right, so we are down to the minute actually. Recap. So define your unique offer. The brand, let's see. Oh, that wasn't my copy. So define your unique offer. What specifically do you solve and for who? And defining your ideal client is really, really important. That makes it easier for your messaging to be aligned. Then you want to position your offer in the marketplace. And then lastly, communicate your unique offer. That's what we just went through, having reviews on your website, making sure you're in the right place where you want to communicate, looking at their behavior, the buying behavior, making sure you're communicating in the right location also. So with all that, do you have any Q&As? I don't even know if you heard me, but I sure hope so. Do we have any questions? We got a few more minutes. And if we don't, you also get a replay so you can check this out later. Questions, you can put them in the Q&A. I think it's a question mark or a speak bubble at the bottom. And if not, I want to thank you obviously for showing up here, taking the time to be with me and learning more. And if you have any other questions that maybe you're not thinking about right now, or you're not in a place where you can type it down, we got something. Thank you. Okay, so that means you did hear me. Lovely. Then you can find me at Kay Hager Design, which you probably already found, or on all social, Kay Hager Design, or you can just shoot me an email. You find that on our website. Okay. Thank you so much. And we do this every month, so feel free to sign up for them every month. There's no pitch, just here to help you do business and branding better. All right. Thank you. And